Okay, so chapter number 8, IT-based process changes. Let's scan through the chapter. Yeah. So, for example, if you look at this, organizations are failing to gain the business value they hope for when they embark on IT-based changes. Now, look at this IT-based process changes, and technologies are gaining more and more attraction, and we have seen it in our lives also, and especially nowadays, like in these times when pandemic is here, more and more people are using IT to work from home and various things. We don't want to go through them. You guys know that already. Even we are doing the same thing as we are trying to interact using these mediums. But on the same note, try to think that what is the success rate of, generally speaking, about IT projects. Generally speaking, don't even think about change management. Yeah, just think about IT related projects and what is their success rate. Just run a simple Google search, success rate of IT projects. Yeah, when you have time, you can do that. When I did that, it is giving, roughly speaking, more than 70% of IT related projects, any type of IT, they fail more than 70%. You can check also. Yeah. So now think about that when change will be involved in those IT projects, how much the failure rate can go high. Yeah, that is one thing you would want to reflect about. And these things are not to make us worried. Like, don't get the sentiment that change is not possible and it won't work out. And that is not the sentiment. The sentiment is that we should know when we are going into any type of change, we just need to know that it is going to be hard. There will be resistance, all these things which we have been talking about. It is just good to know about them so we can prepare better. It is just like, when you think something is easy, maybe you take things for granted and you don't prepare very well and you say, okay, I will do it on that day. It is just to prevent us from that blunder. So all these things where we say, change is hard and it is not possible and people take time to change, all those type of things which we have been talking about and you guys have been giving examples. It is just to make us wary that it is going to be hard, so we just need to prepare a little bit more than other things when we prepare in business, in organizations, in our general life. That is what it is. So look at this. Organizations are the highlighted section. Organizations are failing to gain the business value they hope for when they embark on IT based changes. And this thing is coming from what I just explained you a while ago. Yeah. Then as you go through this chapter, you need to think about the questions which they are raising throughout the chapters. I want you to think on your own when you are reading. So for example, this one, yeah, this highlighted question. We are going through guided reading, yeah, chapter number 8. So look at this highlighted section. Why do organizations have trouble with IT based changes? What is the reason? So you should have some understanding of this because you now generally should be able to reflect on that why change is hard, what are some of the things we need to think about when we are going through changes, and then reflect on IT related stuff. For example, it is sometimes it can be hard, it can be challenging for people to learn new technologies, maybe again because of they are used to do things in a certain way. You would see this tendency maybe in people who are a little bit older, because they have been doing things in a certain way. Not that they are not smart or they cannot learn new things. It is just that it is their habit. And we know we should appreciate that it is very hard to change habits. That is why I want to just remind you again. I must have said it before, but it is worth reminding us, all of us, including myself, what I I'm saying, I'm just actually reminding myself that whenever we are starting a new thing, that might become our new habit. So we need to be very careful, thoughtful about that. That in the long run, is that habit suitable for my objective, for my purpose? Think about the last interaction we had. One of our friends very nicely spoke about purpose, objective, goal, those type of things. So you need to think about that in forming habits. Anyways, this is one question I would want you to not participate right now, but think about it over a period of time. Yeah. And these bullet points, pay attention to them. And why we are doing, why we use IT, many reasons. Potential gains, what can be those? Many reasons. For example, one of them can be allow globalization of operations. Yeah. So IT, it helps us in connecting, so for example, our friend just told us last time that uncle is not feeling well today. She's reporting that he's getting better. How she knew that? We can assume, maybe we are wrong, but we can assume that maybe she used some type of IT, and they are in touch with each other, and they can know. So globalization, IT has helped in globalization. But in the same breath, we should also consider, although globalization is not necessarily a direct topic for change management, but because of the scope of change management, you should think about globalization. Think about this pandemic. It might not have spread so far if the world was not so much globalized. This tells us that how much interlinked we are with the other countries, with human beings, and so on. Anyways, you need to reflect on that. Yeah, for example, this one, you can look at this one. Enable 24-hour working to maximize the ability to serve the globe and make best use of resources 24/7 type of. Yeah. So think about that. Encourage greater staff involvement. Yeah, we have been speaking about these things: involvement, motivation, how that helps in change. So same way, it would help in any type of projects. So the people who wrote the book, they decided to make a chapter on IT based because of its reach. IT is everywhere. In any sector you pick up, IT is there. As a matter of fact, if they revise the book, which they should, they might be using other new technologies. For example, role of artificial intelligence, role of 5G, role of robotics. You should read about those things. Don't just limit yourself on what the book is saying. And same way, as they are, look at this good contrast they have, as they are talking about 24-hour working, they are also talking about increase the opportunity of flexible work on the road or on the home. Yeah. But mostly, let me say that mostly these things look nice in these type of discussions. They look nice when we are reading them in the book or something like that. Real world is very different. You have some things to complete, jobs to complete, and you have to complete them on time. Generally, business is ruthless. They don't really care what is going on. They should, but they don't, for their own. Business is there to make profit. It's not a charity. So you have to fulfill the guidelines and all those, fulfill the deadlines and all those type of things. Um, think about this. Pandemic is here. Many people are working from home. Uh, but still, generally speaking, I'm not talking about my country. I'm talking about global, in the global context. Still, businesses would want to, maximize from these opportunities. Think about top businesses. Facebook gone to sleep because of pandemic? No, they are bringing in new technologies in their system. The other way, I was seeing that they brought in some new rooms to engage, just like Zoom. They have rooms or something where you can have this type of interaction which we are having right now. Facebook came up with this. I did not read it in detail, but I do plan to. I just read the story. Yeah, I'll think about other companies. Alibaba. Alibaba is gone to sleep. No, they have even started working hard. Think about Amazon. We all of us are familiar. Are they stopped working? No, they have not. They have increased working. They are trying to maximize from this opportunity of crisis where people would need certain type of equipment, certain type of things, even simple things like even businesses have they stopped thinking. Businesses which were not in the process of making those sanitizers, but they had the they had the infrastructure to do that. They started that business. Even in Jamaica, you must have seen some companies which were not initially making sanitizers, which were not initially making masks, but they switched to that. Yeah. So think about that. Uh, and that is the beauty of this, these things. This is in fact, maybe this is the benefit of one benefit. I should not say benefit. This is one thing which successful people do whenever crisis come. uh, you would see that people, generally speaking, majority of the people would complain. They will say this is not right, this is not right, and so on so forth. But then, a successful person, especially entrepreneurial type of people, they start thinking, okay, this is the situation, how we can make most out of that. Anyways, I'm going to come back to IT related. So you are seeing, even if in IT world, you should look out on this. Many new, softwares are coming to have virtual meetings. People who already had these, they are trying to improve their softwares. One good example is Zoom. You should read about that. Zoom was already there for many years. People were using Zoom, but now people found out that there was some security concern. And what did Zoom do? Zoom tried to take care of that issue. Now they are more secure than the past. Yes, this is what you need to think about. And this, of course, we are familiar with this. We spoke about this also in some of discussions, if I can recall, when we were talking about jobs, and some people will be redundant from the job market. What is that? That is because of IT related. uh, you can do many things for that, and that is how it should be done. That is, but people don't do it because sometimes they have their vested interest, so they don't do it. um, so think about these things, of course, in your own time. This one, I like this. When I read this highlighted section, they have a nice interesting story. I just want to highlight the last line. It might give you an idea of what it might be about. So last line of this, you should read it in your own time. If I did the same process again, I would take more time to go through the what's in it for them angle. Please take a moment to read it. Please take a moment to read it. We don't want to rush it. If I did the same process again, I would take more time to go through the what is in it for them angle. What is in it for them? What is in it for them? Always remember this. You're trying to do anything. You're going for a job. You need the job. You are answering the questions, whatever. But in every question, every sentence, your every movement, every gesture should be telling something to them, that this is what they will get if they hire you. What is in it for them? Always. Anything you do, when you are interacting with someone, just start with your friends, with family. Yeah, you start. This is something which comes with over a period of time, with practice. I'm sure all of us can learn this, but we just need to be mindful about that. So when you are talking with friends, you know always try to give them the angle that you will gain this from this. And of course, I don't mean that people are mean and they are thinking about themselves. That is true, but I don't want to say that so openly. But you know what I mean based on your experience also. And if you don't agree with that, that is fine also. I'm not trying to implement how I think on you. I'm just sharing my thoughts, and you should think on your own. Maybe for you, you don't think that this is something important to tell. For example, I gave example of job interview. Maybe for you, you think no, I don't need to tell them what is in it for them. That is fine also. But it is just a thought. So what I'm just suggesting or requesting is that just think about this. And if you like the thought, you take it. If you don't like the thought, don't take it. Yeah. So what I was trying to say is that maybe should start practicing with friends, that whenever you are telling them, don't always because generally speaking, how we talk, it is generally about us, about me, about I need this, I need to go there, I want to go to watch that movie, I want to eat Japanese, I want to eat, do whatever. It is more on that, generally speaking, not everyone. So that is not going to work in change management. Forget about it. Especially if people have you know some strong habits, it is not going to happen. You need to pitch it at what is in it for them. What is in it for them? So maybe you are with someone and you want to watch that movie, but you know that the uh, the girl likes the you know he likes the uh, she likes the actor in the movie. So you don't should not say that I want to watch that. You can say that uh, you told me that you love that actor, so his movie is out. So I bought the tickets because I thought you you would love to. Number 8, they are talking about the role of IT management. Yes, but what I was saying as we got disconnected is that don't get worried about IT in it, because generally speaking, you just want to think about what is the role of management in change processes, change procedures. So if I have to ask you, maybe you would say that management should be able to give some support, management should be very much committed to the change, management should be empathetic towards their workers, uh, and so on. Yes. So same way in IT management. So because, for example, think about IT. IT would maybe need some funding because you might have to buy new equipment. It might require some type of training on related with IT, related with learning new skills. And again, that would need some training and some time. And also, you have to sell to your workers that this new technology which we are offering, it will make your work easy, it will make your life easy, it will make you a smart worker, all those type of things about you, not about the company. That is how maybe you are going to get some traction about about change. Yes. Let me ask you guys, what do you think? Please say it. What is the role of management in change, generally speaking? So I know we are on the same page more or less. If someone asks you that what is the role of management in change, and if you have to link it with IT related, technology related, computers related, what would you say? Please go ahead.
I would say that managers are the enforcers of change. It's just like the video that you played in class where kind of like resistance to change. it ties in with a little bit of IT, and it turns in a little bit with resistance, where the lady wanted to move from manual working to systematic filing or something like that. And the manager was the one that had to enforce and bring in the technology to for the organization.
Very good point. Very good point. And I kind of forgot that clip which we saw in class, but that is very relevant to what we are trying to say. Anyone else? Please go ahead.
Oh, I'm not sure. I think something was wrong with my mic, sir. I was saying that the managers are the decision makers when it comes down to change. So they are the one that decide the path that it will take in the company. Um, Especially where IT is concerned. So if there is supposed to be like a new software or a new process that's supposed to come into the company, they are the ones that will decide what happens, and then you'll have like supervisors or persons below them will implement the change. But they decide how it goes.
Yes,
Uh,
good point about management. Yes, what else you are saying, Sheldon? Go ahead.
oh, that was basically it. I was just saying that they are the decision makers when it comes down to change. So they decide what goes, what, and in terms of when it happens, basically. When it is implemented, what is implemented.
Yeah,
Bas-
fair enough. When it is going to be implemented, what is going? Yeah, this point Sheldon is raising about when. That is also very interesting point, and somehow I did not really think about it yet. But this is very important for all us to think about that when the timing when you are going to bring in this IT related change, you have to be very mindful. You cannot implement a IT related change when it will be when it will be your high season, when a lot of customers are going to be uh, there waiting for doing business with you, because anything can go wrong. And if something goes wrong, then you might be losing sales or reputation and so on. It does not look good on you when you fail, although we know that the chances of failure in change management and IT related projects very high, but still you have to be mindful about that. So please make note of that, which Sheldon said. When the timing, that, and generally speaking in change, this when is very important. Timing very important. Yes, anyone else, please go ahead though. So the question is very simple question. If someone did not hear earlier, the simple question is that what is the role of management in change, as we have discussed, and try to link it with IT. Yeah. uh, Whatever you know about IT, so what is the role of management in IT situations? Anything you can say on that, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. I was saying that, in relation to what my colleagues had just mentioned about, managers leading change, like they're the ones who enforce the change. Within different organizations, you have, for example, looking on it from like a structural perspective, you know how you have upper level management, middle level management, lower level management. It will be the ones from, like, for example, if there is an employee in an organization that is supposed to follow to the different changes, such as the IT in relation to the coronavirus. Now,
Mm.
almost every employee, well, not almost every, but a lot of employees have to be working from home, right? So it would
Mhm.
be the responsibility of managers from, the following that organizational structure, the different levels above that employee. They would have to be the ones to kind of teach these employees of how to, do these different IT activities for the organization working from home in this, from this coronavirus crisis. So I really do believe that it is management's responsibility to enforce these different, this whole change and dynamic of how they're supposed to do work. You know, that's it, sir.
Very, very good. And I would like to tell you that, maybe share something with you, that it is also, when you are talking about upper level management, middle managers, lower level managers, and many times upper management is going to implement some change, maybe without even taking into consideration your opinion, or even asking you, and so on. So in those times you have to be keeping very cool, and I think coolness, keeping cool, not getting too much if you are a type of person who get emotional very easily and quickly, maybe change is something where where we can have some difficulty. It is about keeping our nerves in control, not losing it. Some difficulty comes, don't focus on the negative part. Also try to see what can be done in the given circumstances, and so on. Because no matter how hard you planning is one thing, and when something is happening in practicality, in real, in life situation, that is totally different. You just have to see what you can do best in that moment, in that change, whatever is implemented on you, maybe, maybe without even asking you. Because as we are talking about IT, let's talk about this glitch which happened a while ago. So let me tell you that I am on campus. I am using campus facilities. I am on campus, Mona campus, and I am using their landline Ethernet connection. I was not using Wi-Fi. I was using their landline, and our session was going fine. I was able to show you what I'm looking at and so on. But suddenly, someone in the IT department, for some obvious reasons, there must have been some reason for that, so they had to turn it off. Maybe they are doing some maintenance work or whatever. But I was not notified. I'm not complaining, no problem. Maybe they don't know that I am here. Uh, Most likely they don't, because generally speaking, university is off. But I came here uh, because I thought that this internet which I will get over here, the Ethernet landline, it would be more more reliable, if I can say, and it has been very reliable, so on. But they had to shut it down for some reason. Yeah, so that got some disruption. So I tried to fix it. I tried to speak with one or two guys. They said no, we won't be able to turn it on right now because some maintenance work is going to happen. So I said okay, no problem. And I said okay, what is my other option? So I said all right, let me try it from my phone. So right now I am talking with you on my phone. But uh, the issue with phone is that it would allow me to show you the book also, but it requires some software, for example, or some other thing, some updates which I would have to do, which would take some time, and so on. So I said okay, no problem, we can just continue like that. So of course it can be frustrating, it can be different emotions you can go through that, because you want to make, especially if you want to make the experience of your customers, your clientele, the best you can. But the idea, what I'm trying to say, that never panic. Don't panic, because if you panic, if you get negative, if you get angry, what happens is that you lose your cool, and you are not able to work as well as you might have. I'm in no way I'm saying that I don't get angry or I don't get negative emotions. I've told you already my examples in when we were meeting in class many times. Those of you who were there, you guys remember what I said about that gas station, Mona gas station. I told you full story and other things I've been telling you where I blundered and so on. But the idea of telling those stories is that, and you guys also have told that okay, uh, um, Sheldon is laughing on that. Yes, and you guys have been telling me your stories also, where you have blundered, but you just learn from that. Okay, I went through that change. I got angry. What was the end result? It did not help me. So next time in that situation, I'm just going to try to keep my cool. Of course, we are human beings. Every now and then we will forget that. But the idea of change is just that. You just keep on learning from your past mistakes. So again, I want to reiterate this point, which I have said multiple times before, but it is worth reminding us, is that when you go in a change situation and it does not work, all you need to do is reflect on it, look back, and ask yourself question, what you have done differently. Don't blame other people. Don't tell them he did not do that, she did not do that. Forget about that. They are not going to do anything. You want to implement change. It is your job to make them do it. One technique is to show them what is in it for them. But if you reflect on our discussions, we have been talking about so many different techniques. That technique which our friend gave us about purpose, that is very powerful technique. Another friend gave some example of shared values. That is very powerful. Section they are going to talk about some competencies which people should have if they are talking about uh, technologies, computers, and so on. Needless to say that this is some field which you have to polish every now and then. You cannot just do a bachelor's in IT and just forget about that. You have to just renew your skills again and again because new things are coming. So you have to hone your competencies again and again and again. Uh, so, but that is not again just for IT. Anyone who has to be successful in their field, whatever field they are in, it does not matter. They need to be open to change. They need to be open to new ideas, new skills. They need to know what are new tools to engage in their field, how to motivate their staff, how to get motivated, what are the new theories. Because many times the theories which we discussed in our session or you are looking at the book, they are not that they don't work, they do work, but there is a lot of new theory, lot of new things, new insights coming every now and then. So we have to polish our skills, competencies, and so on in that regard. So please think about that also. But let me say that if you are not necessarily interested in IT, first you should be because it is in every sector. But you don't necessarily be looking at IT because it might be a little boring. So you see which field you are interested in. So let's say you are interested in banking, you are interested in finance, maybe you are interested in human resource management. So let's say you are interested in HR, human resource. So run some Google search, IT advancements, IT competencies, IT softwares, new technologies for whatever field you are interested. So, for example, if you are interested in HR, you should be reading said how HR is using new technologies to learn more about job applicants. What are the new technologies? So just Google search artificial intelligence, human resource management. You will be amazed if you don't know this already when you will be reading those things. As a matter of fact, all of us should be aware of these because all of us every now and then we will have to go to some type of interview or we will be taking someone's interview if we become an entrepreneur and so on. So we should know what are the technologies they are looking at. So many interesting things. I don't want to go in details. I want you to look into that. So, for example, when you will Google search artificial intelligence, human resource management, you will see they are using facial movements. They are looking at eye movements. Even when you smile in the interview, they are using the artificial intelligence to know if it is a fake smile or is it a genuine smile. Very fascinating things. Yeah, I don't want to go in details, but I definitely want you to if what I said got you excited, I want you to read about that and see what is all about. Some terminologies they will be using in the book chapter, nothing to really worry about. You see any terminology, you read the section in the book and you also run a simple Google search, and on the first 2-3 pages just click on any story which you like and try to understand what they are talking about. For example, one term which they use in this chapter is BPR, business process reengineering. So if you have not looked at that in any of your other courses, nothing to really worry about. Just run a Google search, try to understand what they are talking about. In simple words, they are trying to make some changes in business processes. So in your field of interest, you run the search. So don't just search business process engineering or BPR. Add the words which is your industry. So BPR in HR, BPR in banking, BPR in insurance. Doesn't matter. What have BPR in education? So when I run because my interest is universities, education, that is what motivates me, that is what excites me. So for me, I would run the search, and I have already run the search and try to read what is in it, and I found a couple of very interesting stories. For example, I found a university in USA which is using BPR, business process reengineering, uh, to make some changes in the way they are going to run their teaching and learning amid COVID crisis. Yeah, but it is not hard. Business process reengineering. They used to have a process. Now they want to make it more effective, more efficient. So because we are looking at IT related chapter, so how to make a business process more effective, more less costly, more convenient by using some IT. So let's make an example. So let's pick up any business process of University of the West Indies. So one of the business process is uh, is paying your fees. So how to re-engineering it in these times. So maybe you are going to bursary, you are joining a line and so on and doing it in person. So maybe there is some option, which there was already some options that you can do it online, but people maybe not everyone was using it, but now they can re-engineering it in a way that majority of the people can use it. But again, there are some challenges with that. For example, does everyone has a bank account? Does everyone has a card? If they don't have it, they might have to borrow it from family, friends, or something. So of course, there will be some challenges and so on. So I ended up explaining it, but that was not the plan. Anyways, please read it in your own time. So same way, some terminologies they are using, nothing to really worry about. Use the same technique which I told you, and always run search with the industry you like, so it is easier for you to read and you are excited by whatever you are reading. And of course, always pay special attention to the conclusion section or the summary section of every chapter. Not that you should not read all of the chapters, you should read all chapter, but summary section is something which kind of give you an idea of what about the major themes or what are some of the takeaways which you should take as you conclude the chapter. So please read on emerging technologies. For example, 5G is very big. 5G is going to change the way we work, we live. Almost every industry 5G is going to change. It is already changing, making changes in some countries. So read about that. What China is doing with 5G, maybe you would want to read about that. Yeah. And chapter number 10. So this section is about emerging inquiries. Emerging. What are new things in management of change? That is what these two chapters are about. So necessarily, it is not just about reading those chapters. Yes, you are going to read those chapters, but if you just are going to read that chapters, that is not going to fulfill the purpose of these chapters. The purpose of these chapters, chapter number 9 and 10, the purpose is that you do some reflection, some careful reflection. Only then you will be able to gain some momentum, some insight from the discussions which we have been having. Because as a matter of fact, the reason for not running PowerPoints and trying to have some discussions, have your own opinion and so on, the reason was to prepare you to deal with these two chapters, chapter number 9 and 10, so you can reflect and take out some meaning for yourself. Again, not for, don't think about exam purposes and so on. That would be very, very, that would not be good. That would not be good. A good idea. You want to have some understanding. So in life, generally speaking, in private personal life and also at work, and changes, so you can have your own understanding of change process. So when you are in some change process, you can deal with it in a better way. So I am facilitating this class. Can I deal successfully with all the changes which come in my life, in my private life or at work? What do you think? Maybe you think, yes, he might be able to, deal with changes and so on because he know this and he read this and so on, or because the way he talks. Let me be very frank with you, it is not the case. Majority of the change situations I go in my life, majority of them, they are very hard. I find them very hard. It's not easy. So the idea of telling you that is that you just need to be careful about these change processes, because when you are starting a change process, you might think that, oh, I will be able to do that, but change is something which is going to attack you from an angle which you has not thought about really. We can't control so many factors in our life. So with that context, I'm inviting you to do a thorough reading of chapter number 9 and 10, and after that do some reflection. Anyways, we're going to do some guided reading. So please take out chapter number 9 uh, on your own laptop or computer, or if you cannot do that, just make notes so you know what we have done. Chapter number 9 is talking about complex change. So the name of the chapter is complex change, complexity. So first of all, reflect on this title. Yeah. So we have already established during this semester that change is complex. If that is the case, then why did the author decided to name the chapter complex change? What is the reason? This is how you would want to start reflecting. I don't want to tell you how I view it, because I view things from the way I have lived my life and from the way I have experienced life and from the way I have experienced change. Even if I tell you, it might not work for you. You have to think about complex change in your own life. So think about any complex change situation in your own life. Try to reflect on that. Try to reflect, how did you deal with that? Were you successful? Were you not successful? If you were not successful, what were some of the reasons you are not? If you have to do it over again, how would you go about that change? And in this chapter, chapter 9, and also in chapter 10, you will see that they are repeating the same concept which we have been talking about in the semester. For example, I'm seeing on second page, they are talking about restructuring programs. In the same paragraph, they are talking about different type of mergers and acquisitions. Yeah, so this is something which you would enjoy more, chapter 9 and 10, once you have read all the chapters. So if it is the case that you have not done the readings till chapter number 8, please complete those before you go into this chapter. Not that you won't be able to understand, you will be able to understand anyways, but the idea is that you, because you want to make your own conclusions about change management, that is why I suggest that first you get a hang of initial chapters. Make a note of table 9.1. Again, we are in chapter number 9, complex change. Make a note of table 9.1. It is talking about traditional worldviews and it is talking about emerging worldviews. Emerging. So in emerging, you might want to think about this, pandemic also, because this is something which is emerging. And even if we are able to take control of this pandemic in 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, whatever is the time, still I'm sure you guys can, you can appreciate that the damage this pandemic has done, it would have far reaching impact globally. So even if it ends, it will not really end. So in this chapter, they are talking about, for example, in complex changes, they are talking about power relationships. And if you remember, Brandon just mentioned upper management, middle management, lower management. So what is that? How you deal with middle management if you are a lower management staff, or how you deal with upper management if you are a middle manager? That is all about power relationships, power relations. So they are talking about that. Forms of communicating, they are talking about. We have spoken about those things in our earlier discussion. I don't want to repeat unnecessarily. Feedback is something which they are talking about. I highly encourage you guys, all of you, to read about feedback, how to give feedback, read about it. Run some Google searches, go on YouTube, try to understand how to give feedback when someone asks you for your opinion. And all of us do that. Your friends ask for your opinion, sometimes family members, sometimes colleagues at work. Everyone is asking you, some feedback. It is feedback. So when we give it, but do we really know how to give it? Maybe not. You ask for feedback from people. You have to reflect on that. Which type of feedback works for you? Which type of feedback motivates you? Which type of feedback demotivates you, and so on? Essentially speaking, what I'm trying to say is that read on the literature on feedback, how to give feedback, when to give feedback and when not to give feedback. If someone is asking for feedback, should you just go ahead and give your feedback how you think, or there are some things you should think about before you tell them? All those type of things, I think they are important, especially in the context of complex change. Yeah, so remember, we are looking at complex change. They are talking about same theories which we have been talking about in earlier chapters, chapter 1, 2, 3, 4. Essentially, they make the foundation for this type of reading which you have. Make note of figure 9.1. You can scan through that. So in the book you will see different sections. So as I was talking about feedback, you might see something on that. I spoke about power relations. You are definitely going to see something on that. Forms of communicating, you are going to see some section. So what you need to do is read that section and link it with the discussions which we have been having, what our colleagues have been telling us in those discussions about communication, what works, what does not work, feedback, they are telling you about that. In the next section, in chapter number 9, look for the heading tools that support complex change. Look for that heading. In that heading, look for the first one is storytelling. Storytelling. That is a very powerful tool, storytelling. And we do that all the time. I just mentioned the story which I told you about that gas station, Mona gas station, and what happened. What was that? That was a story. And I'm sure that you are more interested in, listening to that when I was telling you if you are in that session, can tell stories. Very important stories. For example, if so, let's talk about some complex change. One complex change can be that for some of you guys, you find it difficult to pass the course, and many times you score very low in your coursework, and if the final exam is difficult, you would fail. So let's imagine that there is someone sitting in our session who scored very low in any course. We are not talking about this course, but any course they were doing, and they scored very low in the coursework. Let's say that uh, they scored like 20 out of 40 in their coursework, and now final exam is 60%, and they have to get 30 at least to pass, and they have taken student loan, and they don't have money, and all those type of things are happening, and relationships are not working, and family pressure is there, and they don't understand what is happening in the class, and they don't feel like going to class, and before they know it is final exam. So imagine that, you need to now motivate them. You tell them a story, something like that. In the last semester, there was a guy who scored only 10 out of 40 in the coursework, and he was very worried, but he worked hard, and guess what, in the final exam he scored 40 out of 60, and he or 45 in the final exam, and he was able to pass. So what is that? That is a story that is trying to give some hope, some confidence to the person. uh, uh, so it helps. On the other hand, if you don't give a story like this and past experience, and tell the person other people have done it in the past, there are many people who scored, who even failed coursework, and in the final exam they scored the highest score. uh, these type of stories give some hope to the person, and it increases their likelihood to at least work. They might still fail, we don't know that, we can't promise that, but at least they have some hope, and so on. So in this example, you, because you want to create some hopefulness, you don't want to create unnecessary anxiety or fear. So in this situation, one can decide to give this example. But you think about your own field, whatever complex change you went through, and what is happening. Anyways, in this section, this is chapter number 9, complex change. You are looking for tools that support complex change. And one of the tools your book is mentioning is storytelling. Many other tools they are telling, you need to read them and reflect on your own life. If someone used those tools with you, or maybe you have used those tools with someone, even without even unknowingly, uh, because see, storytelling, now I gave you example, but if you reflect, I'm sure someone must have given you some type of story to do something with you, uh, and they might have been successful. Same way dialogue, same way open space technology, same way, say they have other tools in that. So future search, for example, one tool is future search. So in one of the sessions we spoke about, you need to understand what would be the future of your industry, where that is going to take you, the in the future where you would be. Yeah, so that would help you to manage complex changes and essentially get ready for those complex changes when they come. Again, I want to repeat one or two sentences. I'm sure I've said it before, but they are coming in my mind, so I feel like repeating them. So please remember that we plan and prepare for change when change is not happening. Please, please remember that. And please practice this if you are going to be successful in change management. So you have to foresee, what the change is coming, and then you have to plan and prepare for that change before it comes. Before it comes. Of course, when the change will be there, you will have to adjust, you will have to accommodate, and so on. But if you have not foreseen it, if you have not taken time to reflect on it, if you don't have planned a backup strategies and so on, there will be some glitch left, and you might not be able to work on that. And I would like to repeat this story which I told you about myself, that today I am here on campus using landline Ethernet connection, and then I told you what happened, and then I'm using my phone, and because it requires me to download few things before I can share, and I don't want to spend or waste my time on that right now. I'm more interested in talking with you right now. I'm in that frame of mind, so for that reason I am unable to show you right now. Yeah, so although I did plan, I did do whatever I thought can go wrong, but it was based on that Ethernet connection and so on. I had a backup for Ethernet connection, that if this Ethernet connection don't work, I will use that one. If that don't work, I will use that one. But I did not think that this can also happen, that they will just turn off the Ethernet connection. So what happened to all the knowledge which I have about management? What happened to that? That is gone in drain. So I did not plan as well as I should have. At the end of the day, that is what it is. So no one is going to come and listen to your stories how you planned before. It is only in that time how you perform. It is only that. You guys don't care how much effort I would put in preparing my discussion with you or not, and not in a negative sense. I'm not saying it in a negative sense. I'm just saying, what I'm trying to say, that you want to see something happening right now when we are together. If nothing is going on when we are together, then it does not matter how much I prepared. It does not. It would be helpful for me that, okay, nothing gets lost, so I prepared, that knowledge would be with me and all those things. But what I'm trying to say is, what matters most is this moment in this time. That is what really matters. Other things are background work. That is also important. But right now in this moment, how the discussion goes, what I say, what you say, how I can link with you, how I can relate with you, that is what matters. Think about it like your final exam. So you have been studying throughout the semester, you have read all the chapters, you have been into all discussions, you have participated in every session. In the final exam, let's say that you are unable to write for some reason, any reason. You just get blank, you just get nervous, you see some questions which we did not prepare directly, and something external can happen. Maybe something bad happened in the family, someone passed away and you are very close to them and you can't shut your mind, or you have to take exam. So if you don't perform in the exam and you tell me that, well, I can't do anything anyways because that is exams. So you tell exams that, okay, I have been reading and look at this. These are my notes. I've prepared all the notes. I have attended all the sessions. You can ask Tashfeen. What is exam going to say? Exam don't care how much what was in the, what preparation you did. So what I'm same way in a presentation, let's say, I remember myself, I can tell you a story. In my undergrad, there was a presentation. And of course, I was and I still am very shy, as you might have observed. So I went to that presentation and I prepared very well. I remember the night before I was preparing all the night, and in that presentation I could not perform at all. So now if I tell other people that, you know, I've been preparing so much and so on, it matters, but it does not really matter. It is on that day how you perform in that time. So how to perform on the day in that time? You can only perform well if you have prepared well in advance, that if something goes wrong, how you will deal with that. You have already taken out into factor that, okay, this can go wrong, this can go wrong, this can go wrong. If this happens, I will do this. If this happen, I will do this. Even after all that work, still sometimes things will happen which you have not thought about, and you did it did not occur to you at all. And that is what is complex change to me. So, but don't take that as a point. You think about your own complex changes and try to think about it. So essentially, what I'm trying to say is that plan before you go in that change. Foresee what changes are going to come in your life and plan before. If you are into, for example, you know, JDF and military, and one of our colleagues here, she is definitely going to join JDF, as you guys remember from one of the discussions we had in one of the sessions. So if you think about JDF, military, and these type of things, you know, they do games. They call them war games. In those war games, they create scenarios which can happen in war, and fight, and they practice. So there is no war, but they are doing war games, extensive war games. So good militaries, effective militaries worldwide, they do extensive war games, very tough ones. You can run some searches. So they are not in war, but they are practicing, preparing, planning for that. Only then they will be able to deal with war situation when it happens. Maybe even after all the extensive war games, they might not be able to, do very well. But at least if they have practiced, it might be easy for them. So that is what I'm trying to say, that you have to try your best to foresee what changes can happen and prepare for those changes, and only then you might be deal with that change. Let me give you one final example to just ensure in my mind that I am able to say what is in my mind. So one example I would like to give is that many of you are going to graduate, yeah, next year or the following year. So that will be a big change. The change would be from coming to university, doing the sessions and so on, having fun, and whatever you are doing on the dorms or otherwise. Now the change would be you would be trying to find some job and work. So to find the job, is it good strategy to start looking for job after you graduate, or you need to start thinking about that change from the time you enter university, your first day? Now that I'm not trying to say or suggest anything. You have to make your own decision. What is the best time for you? So if you have it in your mind as you join the study that, okay, this time is going to get over after 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 3 years, I will be graduating and I will be finding job. How I can prepare for the job market? You need to ask your question from that day when you join. But nothing to worry about if you have not thought about that from then. Now is the time to start thinking about that. How are you going to find a job after you graduate? What are the things companies are looking for? Do you have those skills? If you don't have, how you are going to hone or acquire those skills? Preparing for job interviews and so on. Experience is one thing which people are going to require. Are you doing some internships? Are you doing some voluntary work? All those type of things. So if you do that type of preparation, there is no guarantee that you will find a job after you graduate. I'm not trying to say that, but you might be a little bit more prepared to from the next guy, because you have done internship, you have done voluntary work. There were 3 summers, you have done some jobs in those 3 summers, and so on and so forth. You have been active in whatever things, whatever opportunities UV has provided, extracurricular activities and so on. So you are preparing yourself, and that all of those things are going in your resume. So when you and graduating, by that time you are a little bit more prepared than the other person who has not done all those things. So you have increased your likelihood of securing the job. So that is how you prepare for complex change, because that I consider that complex change, because many people find it hard to find a job right after graduation. It can be very tricky, it can be very hard, it takes time. Some people get lucky. I'm not trying to say no one finds a job. Some people do get lucky, but generally speaking. So again, what I'm trying to say is, please remember all these things which I've been saying for last 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. What I'm essentially trying to say is that you need to foresee the change and prepare for that change before that change comes. That is going to increase your likelihood of managing change. Otherwise, you will get surprised, and no one likes to get surprised. We spoke extensively about leadership, the role of leadership. In this chapter also, complex change chapter, they have a section, the role of leaders in complex change. So I have given you some examples. It is your job to link them now in your own time and try to reflect that when in the complex changes, what is the role of leader. So for example, I gave you this example of undergrad coming to university and then graduating and graduating and then going into the work field and trying to find the job. Who is the leader in all this? The leaders are the people who met you in the first semester when you joined the university. They are the leaders. Because what I'm saying now, it is never too late, can start working on this. But imagine that if someone has told you these things when you just joined, you might not even heard at that time also. But it might stick with you in some way. And after 1 semester or 2 semester, after 1 year, you might have started thinking about that. The chances are more. So those are the leaders. Or generally speaking, the university is the leader, the role of leader in complex change. The university needs to provide those opportunities, learning opportunities, experience-based opportunities, internship, externships, work experiences, all those type of things. And then motivate you also to get involved in those things. So over a period of time, you have built your resume and so on. So because I'm passionate about education, so I gave you examples from my field, what interests me. But the idea is just to understand complex changes, so you can have your own change examples which you have gone through in your life, and then you please find some time to read the summary and conclusion of this chapter. So this was chapter number 9. Please take out chapter number 10. The title of chapter number 10 is The Right Way to Manage Change. That is the title of the chapter. Chapter number 10, The Right Way to Manage Change. In this point in time, I'm requesting you guys to please participate in this discussion to help us answer this question. So the question is, what is the right way to manage change? If you don't have the book or anything, does not really matter. Please open the mic and tell us, based on whatever you know from the life, what is the right way to manage change? Anything you can say. Please go ahead.
Sir, I think the most important thing when one is supposed to manage change in the best way possible is, as you said before, you want to keep a leveled head. You don't want to, when you're initiating change or there is a certain situation that arises that demands change to occur to, make everything productive and work out. The most important thing is when you're initiating the change, keep a calm and steady head. Don't get mad, don't get aggressive. You want everyone who you're trying to initiate the change for to understand why you're doing this change, and you want to remain calm throughout. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for reminding us this point, Brandon. Excellent point. Please make note of this. Is reiterating the point because it is very important. That is why he is repeating this point. So please make note of this. Being calm, calculated, very important. I want to add to this. So very easy to say in a discussion format that please be calm. I'm reflecting back on my life when I was going through change. And I'm asking myself, was I calm? No, I was not calm. I was very aggressive, I was angry, and so on, although I knew that it is going to backfire. But because I was very frustrated that why it is not happening, why the other person or other people or group of people or team is not seeing the things how I am seeing the things. What is the problem? I was asking my question, is it something I am doing wrong? Am I not being able to motivate the other people to do the thing the way I want to do, whatever? And then on this, the resistance to change. Generally speaking, in every change situation, there is going to be some resistance. When you are going to face resistance, how are you going to be calm? It is just that you tell your mommy cook thing tonight, and it makes sense to you, and she says no, we're not going to cook this thing tonight. How you are going to react if you really want her to cook that thing? It is just an example. You can think about any other example where the other party is not listening to what you are saying. Are you going to be calm, calculated? All this is a very basic example. It does not really matter what she's going to cook. You can eat whatever she cooks. But if again and again, every time you say whatever you ask her to cook, she always resists you. Over a period of time, you are not to be, you are going to get, at some point in time, you are going to get a little aggressive. So what I'm trying to say based on Brandon's point is, yes, we need to be calm, but it can be very hard. So again, how to make it easy you have to practice it. So from small things. So you tell your friend something, do this thing with a friend, and a friend says no, I'm not going to do it. Don't get angry. please use that as a practice. So ask your friend the questions. Okay, you are my nice friend. I'm sure there is some reason why you are saying we are not going to do it like this. Can you please tell me why you are saying so? I can comply with what you are saying, because I value my friendship with you more than uh, uh, doing what I am saying. So just help me explain so we are on the same page. Something on those lines. If you practice this over a period of time, not in one semester and not in 1 year, I don't think so. Based on my experience, maybe some of you can do that very quickly. For me, it is still a struggle. I'm still learning every day. Yeah. So over a period of time, you are going to learn to stay calm when there will be resistance, when people will not do the things which you want them to do. And if you can do that, if you can keep calm and that type of behavior, it can be very helpful in private personal life also and at work also. So again, going back to the question, we are looking at chapter number 10. The title of the chapter is The Right Way to Manage Change. My question to you guys, please participate in this discussion. What is the right way to manage change? Please tell me.
A
Please
good
tell
way
us.
you can a good way you can manage change is to not be forceful. So if you want change to happen, you have to be there a little a step at a time to ease somebody into the change instead of bringing change on them. Because if they don't fully understand the change, if they don't appreciate the need for the change, you're going to develop some level of resistance. So you have to be there doing it in proportions, a little by little, so that people can have a feel and have a full understanding of why the change is necessary.
Very good point. Excellent point. Please understand that when people do not change the way you want them to change, it is not necessarily that they are not listening to you or whatever, or they do not want to cooperate. It is just too much for them. It is very hard for them to change their habits and so on. So maybe that is why they are resisting. So our friend is telling us that one thing you can do is taking your time, step by step approach, a little empathy, a little understanding of their situation, putting your feet in their shoe, giving them time. All those things can help. And if you take time, uh, again, there is no guarantee that by doing it step by step, people will change. There is no guarantee. But that is one way that you may be considered. But in some situations, you cannot do step by step. You have to just give some instruction and people just need to follow that. If you start doing step by step and bringing everyone on board, then you will not be able to fulfill your purpose or objective or those type of things. So first thing again, as our friend mentioned in last session, the importance of purpose, objective, goal, you need to make that clear. If your purpose allows to do a step by step approach, then you should use that. If there is no rush, then give people time, no problem. You will gain their respect, you will gain their friendship, you will gain their loyalty. uh, if nothing else, they will appreciate that you did not rush them and you were understanding and so on. Yeah, maybe that is one thing. But again, very easy to say that in a discussion. In the real life, sometimes we just have to do it fast. We don't have time for step by step. So in those times, we need people who will just follow what we are saying. And with that, why people will just follow you when you say something? If you are a leader, why would people just listen to you and do whatever you are saying? Many things are needed in that. One of the key things, as we discussed in one of the sessions, is trust. If you have built some level of trust over a period of time, then in hard times when change is required, it might be easy for your people to do as you are saying, because they trust you, because they think that you are on their side, because they think that you have their best interest in your heart, things along those lines. So think of trust also. Thank you very much. More people, please. I want to discuss this. I want to know what is the right way to manage change. Please tell us, based on your experience, based on your understanding, what is the right way to manage change? Please go ahead.
Communicate it properly to the persons that are affected. And also, the communication must go both ways. So having a route for, as I mentioned, feedback. So if persons can provide feedback to whoever is implementing the change, that will definitely help to manage the change better as well. So basically, communication and feedback.
Yeah, very good. Excellent point. Communicating in the way in which they want to communicate. And communication is, so many things, verbal communication and all those things, but yeah, other things, like your body language, the tone of voice, your even the passion. If people will know if what you are saying, you are passionate about that or not. Are you saying it from your heart, or you are just saying it? All those type of things. Communication, that is very important. And our friend mentioned feedback also. Yeah, but think about that also. More pointers. Give us more pointers. So
Training for the change that you're trying to bring about. So whatever, say you're trying to, sorry, I don't know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. So provide training for the change that you're trying to bring about.
yes, yes, don't worry. All of us understand what you are saying absolutely. So I'm always saying that whatever change is happening, you need to ensure that are people equipped with the necessary skills, training, attitudes, even the attitudes. Do they have that attitude to jump into that change? Are they in that mindset? Uh, do they have some interest? Do they understand why? What is the reason?
Things that we need to is to ensure that we have the right systems and structures in place in order to effectively manage it. We have to get it right from the get go.
Excellent point, excellent point. And we did not speak about this. That is a shame. So our friend is talking about having the right structure, system, processes in place which are going to help. So the beauty of good system, good structure is that when you have a good system in place, uh, if the leader is there, very good. If the manager is there, very good. But the quality of a good system, good structure is that it still continues to work very fine, even when you don't have the supervisor right sitting on your head. Yeah. So very good point, having good systems and structures. But think again, I want to remind you, when are you going to make those systems and structures which are going to help you in in the complex change, in the time when you require them? You need to prepare those systems when you are not going through the change. That is when you are going to make those systems which are going to help you when you will be going. So for example, don't get too worried. It's not that difficult to really get hang of this. Uh, for example, you know, if you have to go through some change, uh, what can be some of the systems? So you are going through. Let's say you are. Let's take some simple example. Let's say like you are in some relationship and you're seeing that it is going to work, and you are seeing that it is going towards its end for some reason. So before you end the relationship or you go into that change process, you might want to see that do you have the system, do you have the process to deal with the after effects of that breakup, do you have that in place? So before you break up, you need to put that system in place. So for example, you have to have friends you can, uh, who can give you company, and you can spend your time with them. Maybe you have family, you can spend your time with them. uh, you start some activities, so you have some, your mind is busy in that. You start focusing more on school or whatever, so what is that? That is a system. So before the breakup, you need to make that system for you, and then you need to test it also. So let's say that you think that family will be there to talk and everything when I'm going through the bad patch in my relationship, but you never tested it. So if you never tested it, you don't know how it will work. So you make the system and you test it a little bit and see what works for you. Different things work for different people. Maybe you don't need anything. The system is that you will just, spend time with yourself, and you are someone who is happy go lucky type of a person, and you enjoy your own company. That is fine also. That is a system for you. What I'm trying to say, that before that change of breakup and relationship problem and whatever, you need to create a system, process, policies for yourself. Otherwise, what would happen, that you will go back and forth and you will be wasting your time and all those type of things, which generally happens to all of us in some period in our time. So you can think about this. I gave you this example because, I think most people can relate with this. But any type of change, this change which we are going through, we are using technologies to run the teaching and learning. But if you ask me, this was not the best time to put all the facilitators and participants on this media. We should have done all of this way back. Maybe when people just join in the first semester, we should run a couple of classes using this medium, so they are used to it, so it is easier transition to the change. Very good point. So make note of that. System, processes, policies, structures, very important. And last point on that is how you can look for good system and structures. You need to look at maybe best practices. What is working for people who have been effective in that area, whatever change you are to make for. So look at their best practices. Look at what mistakes they made. Everyone make, even successful, Amazon, Facebook, Google. Have you Netflix has made? You will see so many things. You want to learn from their mistakes if you are into that business, whatever business you are. So very good point. Next one, please go ahead. Jade.
Yes, sir. So I thought of the impacts that the change might cause on individuals and in the organization, whether it be positive or negative, and also the risks that are involved in terms of how to go about the change, what the company or what the person is willing to give up or to gain in order to get. Um, and also, uh, does the individual or does the company have the adequate resources in order to deal with the change or in order to implement the change effectively?
Very good, Jade. Very good. Thanks for this. So our friend mentioned couple of things. Two things really stood out for me. One is that, she spoke about sacrifice, give up, what people are willing to give up, sacrifice. If that attitude is not there, you won't be able to make long lasting collaborations, long lasting loyalties in personal life also and at work also. If you are not, if it is everything is about you, and you are not willing to sacrifice anything, then change is not going to happen. So that pointer, I really liked it. Sacrifice, give up. and then she's talking about resources. So I would like to link it with the capabilities, resources, different type of resources. For example, it's not just a money which is a resource. Time is also very important resource. So maybe the company has very good talent, maybe they have people, maybe they have right skills, they have right attitude, which that change initiative is going to take. So if they don't have the time, they don't have the resource. That means they don't have the capability in that time. So you need to think about that. So 2 pointers you can take from Jade. Sacrifice hand is there.
Oh yes. Sir, I'm basically saying that most of the discussion would like cover planning for the change. Basically laying out activities, roles, and schedules in order to manage issues that may arise with the change. So, as what Jade was saying just now, I know that there might be some risks that may arise that you don't have in your plan for the change, but then with a plan you'll be able to better control things and certain stuffs can run smoother.
Very good, and thanks for this reminder. This is reminding me of that. You must have heard that PPP something, 5 Ps or something. Proper planning prevents poor performance. Yes, 5 Ps. Proper planning prevents poor performance. Something like that. So planning very important. So our friend is saying that you have to just think it through, see what can go wrong, uh, look at yourself, look within, see what are your capabilities, what are your capacities, look at your general life. Do you have the motivation? Do you have that energy to go into that change? Do you have the right environment? Uh, Maybe you don't have anything, maybe you don't have resources, you have nothing, but your passion is so high, your purpose is so high that you just say that I'm just going to go and just do something on this. Like, look at these people who have made some changes, real changes in the history of mankind. uh, let's talk about, let's, like, this Nelson Mandela. We have heard about him, yeah. How many years he has spent uh, in jail, in prison? How many years? Many years. Why? It was not is not that he had resources or he had good planning or whatever. He was just so much motivated, he had just so much, a conviction on his goal, that he just did it. I would like to take a moment to reflect on this from a religious point of view also. So, because we are Christian majority country, so we can give example of Christianity. Uh, think about the think about the life of Prophet Jesus, peace be upon him. So think about his life. We all have heard, we have all have read, and we believe in it, that his life was very challenging, very difficult circumstances he faced in his life. Not an easy day in his life. Very difficult, very challenging, and we know that how he, how he went, we all know his last days, how he was taken to the heaven. All those, so even if you don't believe on this, I'm not, it's not about Christianity or any religion. Not trying to preach a religion. I'm trying to say that we, even if we are not Christian, uh, for example, I'm not Christian, but we, all of us would agree that he did made some fundamental changes on the world. For example, what is the biggest religion in the world right now? It is Christianity. More than 3 billion people believe in that religion. They feel that, and they think that this is the truth. That is the truth. So even if we are atheist or something, that is our own business. I'm not trying to say that I'm not trying to big up Christianity or any other religion, but what I'm trying to say that look at his life, how challenging it was. It did not had the resources, did not had, he just had conviction. He had that passion. Uh, he, all those things which you are familiar more than I am. He had all those things. So what? And he did not see a lot of success in his life. Even the people he trusted most, many of them were betraying him. And look at that. Was he getting mad at them? Was he saying bad words to them? When in his last time, when people were throwing stones and doing all bad things, can you imagine if someone is doing that thing to us, how will we react? He did not react in that way. He was very calm, gentle, and he was praying for the people who was trying to kill him. He was saying, God, forgive these people because they do not know. Yeah. So this is something to think about, that this is how Prophet Jesus, peace be upon him, was dealing with change in his life. And look at the impact today, after so many years, so many centuries. We are giving his example. A lot of people majority of the people in the world, they are Christians. That is the impact he has left. So again, you can agree or disagree with Christianity. It is not about Christianity. And same way in other religions. For example, Islam, Muslims, uh, it is Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And if you look at his life, it is similar life, very challenging, but again, same compassion, same mercifulness. And look at that, the impact of what happened. How many people are Muslim? It is like 2 billion people Muslim, so they believe him. So again, not trying to say that which religion is right and which religion is wrong. All of us have our own faith, but reflect on what is the right way to manage change. So these religious examples, you can think about that even if we disagree with the religion, we can surely agree that they did bring a lot of change in the world because of their interaction, because of whatever they were doing, and they had limited resources and all those things. And then you can think about other examples, like other people who have made any type of big inventions. You can think about these musicians who have made like earth shattering music. Even in today's time, you listen to these musicians which have made big, but if you look at their past, most of them across the world, most of the musicians are coming from humble backgrounds very humble backgrounds, but they were able to change their direction. So what was it which made them change it? Maybe it was their commitment, maybe it was their love for their work. Maybe they were just working on it for many hours without getting tired, and so on. Those type of things you would want to think about. Again, I'm posing the question for the last time, so if anyone want to say something, please go ahead. So the question is, what is the right way to manage change? What do you think, based on your opinion, what is the right way to manage change? Please go ahead. So some friends have mentioned couple of pointers: planning, system, structures, sacrifice, capabilities, calmness, being cool, being calm, preparing. What you guys have to say? If someone asks you, what is the right way to manage change? You have done a course on change management. What is the right way to manage change? What are you going to say? You should be able to say something. Yes, please, Mandal, go ahead.
I think it's important that we remember that this process is not dealing with robots, it's not with computers and stuff like that, but there's a human element involved, and so it is important to pay attention to that. So we need to, as we're managing change, in order to be effective, we need to remember, be humanistic about it. We need to remember the human element, whether that means, somebody had mentioned, I think previously, about like being able, how it's going to impact the employees. You have to think about that. They have counselors in place depending on the type of change that you're enacting. For example, if you're laying off people, what's the process? What's the human way that you're gonna lay off your staff members? What is it like? You just call them into the office and tomorrow they're gone, or are you gonna take them through some stages? This is what we're planning to do. This is how you can begin to prepare yourself, etc. So yeah, just be human.
Excellent point, Mundal, and I use the way you use the words. I'm sure you everyone took note of that. For example, Mandel said that Mandel did not say that it is wrong to lay off people, or it is important for companies to continue giving people jobs. Not, she did not say that. She is not saying that layoff is not right. What she mentioned is what is the process of layoff, of layoff. If you are going to lay off people, go ahead, lay them off. No problem in that. You don't need the services. They don't have the skills which you don't want. You will have to let them go. Otherwise, company is going to go down. But Mandal is saying, what is the process? How you are going through that? That is very important. So please make note of that. It is not what you are doing is right or wrong. It is the process which is going to maybe determine if you did the right thing or not. And if you realize, Mandal is very high on that. Earlier she mentioned systems, structures. Now she's emphasizing on what is the process, as she's talking about human element. Yeah, so please make note of that. Very good. Any other points? Please, guys, please participate in the discussion. We have just half an hour. I want to give some proper conclusion to this. So please help me out. Please tell me what is the right way to manage change. What do you think? Even if it is one line. Yes, Amoy, please go ahead.
Sir, you have to measure the change that so at the beginning of your change process, you have to set objectives, and those objectives are going to help you to measure how effective your change is in I guess completing those objectives, achieving those objectives. So you have to have a system in place to measure how effective change you are making is to solving the problem that you were trying to solve initially.
Progress, how you are progressing with the change. That is again very important, because you have to have some mechanism that when you started, what was the morale, what was the commitment level, all those type of things of the workforce or of the individual who you are dealing with. What happens to that over a period of time? That is very important. And why that becomes very important is a very good point, Amoy. Why it becomes very important is that when the change starts, sometimes the motivation is very high. It is just like when the university started, the motivation in the first semester was very high, and if you look now, maybe it is not as high. You know that what is happening, and you don't really, or a relationship. We gave example of a relationship. So in the early days, the spark is very high and everything, but generally speaking, for most of the people over a period of time, I'm not saying that everyone is going to break up, but it is not as high as in the early days for many people. So you have to measure that over a period of time. That is very important. So in the beginning it can be high, so you want to keep it at the high level. So how you are going to do that, that is something which is worth thinking about. On the other hand, in the beginning it can be that people are not interested in it and they are resisting and all those type of things. But then again, don't get worried about that. Why did you think that you will ask people to change and they will just jump on your boat? That is wrong expectation. Don't expect that. Expect that people are going to have some resistance, it is your job to bring them on board. So measurement, very good. Yes, Abigail, please go ahead.
Well, sir, I was going to say about managing change is basically going to be repeating what other people said. Is basically have a clear vision. So you ensure, even in behavior management, before we change a behavior, that's psychology, before we change a behavior, we have to know what we're targeting or the behavior that we want at the end. So you having a clear vision as an organization, knowing what you want, know what the company should look like at the end of the change process, that can be instrumental in helping you carry out the change. And two, you have to be engaging the employees and communicating constantly. Tell them what you expect of them, reward them for what they're doing right, and just engage them, answer their questions, be specific. So basically repeating what was said before.
That is fine, and you are saying it in your own way, and you have added to the discussion. For example, you mentioned reward, so we did not mention that. So we need to think about that. Should we reward when people do the things the way you want to do, or should you not reward them? The reason I did not mention it, because personally speaking, I am not very passionate about that. Like, I think that people should be interested in their job, and to make the job more better, they should be implementing the change, whatever is necessary, improvements in processes, procedures, structures, everything. And they should not be, doing it for any reward. It should be something which is intrinsically motivating. It should be giving them satisfaction. It is not that they are doing it because of external something. But having said that, what Abigail is saying, I totally take that point, that not everyone is like that. Some people are more okay with the change. They are getting some rewards also. So you have to think about that giving some reward and so on. If that helps, okay, you can do that. Uh, Abby also mentioned something about behavior. Please be mindful that you might be able to change one behavior in a person, but please remember it might have a ripple effect, and you might change other behaviors of the person so which you initially liked. Yes, Jody, please go ahead.
Sir, I was suggesting involvement, as in involving the right people in the design and implementation of the changes, because you want to make sure that the right changes are made.
Excellent point, Jody. Very good. I'm very happy you brought it in, because we did not talk about this at all. Jody's mentioning having the right people. And I am, personally speaking, I am very high on that. Whenever I feel, whenever we fail, there are many reasons, but one of the heavy reason is that the people were not fit for the job. If they were not compatible, they were not, like, it's not that, like, we spoke about relationship, it breaks a breakup. So it might be that the guy is very good and girl is exceptional, but they are not compatible with each other. They might be compatible with someone else, but together they are not compatible. So it is, so Jody is talking about the same thing, right people, same way, having the right person for the job. So whatever the job is, right person, the right attitude, and so on, that is exceptionally important. Yeah, please think about that. Yes, Nolan, please go ahead.
So I was saying, we could be open to adjustments, because management, they may have a clear plan as to how they want to go about the change, but during the process of implementing that change, they could have like room for adjustments.
Yes, that is something which can be definitely thought about. Like Nolan is saying, that she's talking about, having some, adjustment. Like, so this, now you need to think about, like, if the boss is someone who is going to make a plan and he want others to stick with that, maybe adjustment is not going to help. But still, because of the nature of change, change is a dynamic process. as another friend mentioned, human beings are involved many times. Human element is there. So when we are talking about human, we are talking about emotions and all those type of things. So that can be very tricky. She's talking also about openness. So that, of course, that is one point to keep in mind as we are thinking about what is the right way to manage change, because when you plan, that is one thing, but when you are executing, that is another thing. I gave you example of what happened with my internet today. I gave you example of war games which military go through. So openness is very is I should not say it is very important. I should be careful with that, because it depends on the change. It depends on the leader. It depends on the culture of the organization. Because think about it, openness is very good. It is important, but if you are too open for all different type of change, then everything will be too open. So you need to focus also. But I take the point. It is a valid point that you need to be open in the sense that anything can happen. So if you have that openness, you could have a little bit of complex adjustment, or a little bit of understanding. But this point is a little bit a challenge for me to get my head around. But you can think how you treat openness, and you can think how you treat the relationship between leader and the follower. Uh, at the end of the day, it really depends on the type of leader, because say things I am saying, whatever I am saying, are all of those things right? No, all of those things are not right. Are all of those things wrong? No, all of those things are not wrong. Whatever I'm saying, that is a demonstration of my personality. That is how I view life. That is how I am as a person. Whatever you guys are saying, it is a demonstration of your personality. So if someone is saying that openness should be there, that demonstrates that their personality. So they would be a right fit for a change which require a lot of openness and collaboration and meetings and exchange of ideas and replanning and all those. So her personality will be good for that. My personality might not be very good for that, because I might say that, okay, I have made this plan, I want you to now execute it. So I would be doing better. Understanding my personality, the little I understand is that I would be better off if people are not too much open, but they are following the what I'm saying most of the times. Yes, they are giving me their opinions, and I will take their opinions. And you guys have seen that I'm very big on taking other people's opinion, and I always try to make sense of what other people are saying. That is how I am. But at the end of the day, in a change process, I would require other people to follow more if I'm leading. On the other hand, if I am follower, and let's say Brandon is leading the change and all of us are follower, I will give my suggestion to Brandon. But at the end of the day, whatever Brandon says, I'm to just go with that. That is what my personality is, both ways, when I'm leading and when I'm following. So why I'm saying all this is I'm trying to link it with chapter number 1, which is talking about personalities, understanding your own self personality. That is very important, because if you don't understand yourself, then you won't be able to manage change very well. You need to know your strengths and weaknesses very well. Yes, Brand, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Connecting with some of the points that we had discussed before, I think one important thing to mention in relation to like what one of our colleagues said in regards to like structure, and also somebody else mentioned how we should connect to certain personalities, or as someone else said that we should have the right people to initiate the change. Connecting all of those points, sir, one important thing to mention is the leadership style. I think depends for certain countries like maybe Cuba or Russia, the different policies and governments would have made decisions on how to lead those countries using a communist approach or autocratic approach, while other countries may choose to be, democratic, where they take ideas from a group of people with opinions. But in relation to like organizations now, I think in today's society where there are many different organizations that consist of different, system structures, different organizational, settings, leadership styles are important, whether it be autocratic, a charismatic leadership approach to lead the people, or democratic. So it all depends really on the organization. But I think deciding the appropriate leadership style is very crucial in how to lead, people or an organization.
Excellent, 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 and thanks for this, because this is where my headspace was exactly, but I was unable to think about this example which you gave, and which is very good. Like our friend gave example of Russia, China. Look at their leadership. So what I am trying to say, that maybe I would be more suitable in that type of environment. That in that environment in China, if I am a leader, people are listening to me, and I take their opinion, and then I decide, and everything goes fine. On the other hand, if I am a follower in China, I will do very well, because I would understand that the other person is the leader and he is going to direct us. On the hand, in the democracy, it can be sometimes change can be very difficult in a democracy, because everyone has their own opinion, everyone is saying that do it like this, and at the end of the day no one is happy. Think about these curfews which different countries are implementing for amid COVID crisis. Look at Jamaica. So our honorable prime minister, he said that okay, these are the restrictions and this is what you need to do. But look at his honorable prime minister's look at their engagement style. It is like it is like friendly, and it is like trying to make other people stand, and all those type of things. But we know that people are still not happy. There are a lot of people who think that no, he should have done this, prime minister should have done this, no, he should have done. See, on the other hand, in China, they did what had to do, and by now the cases are very less in their country. It might increase again. I'm not saying that nothing can go back, but because of their style of managing, as Brandon is mentioning, the leadership style, that has to do a lot with how change will impact. Will it be successful or not? Because all the things which we have been talking throughout the semester, somewhere along the line, it links with the leader, their personality. Uh, if they are empathetic, if they have care, concern for their workers, they are going to behave in a different way. If they are more focused on the end results only, they are going to behave in a different way. So very good point. Please reflect on what Brandon said, leadership style at the end of the day. Yes, Nolan, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Going back to my point of adjustment, some managers sometimes they make plans from a theoretical standpoint. So when they are going through the process of the practical application, they probably would need to make room for adjustments.
Oh yes, absolutely correct, correct. Absolutely. So guys, please make note of what they're saying. Adjustment, of course, it has its own virtues. So think about both things. What Nolan is saying, adjustment, what I was saying earlier, and then what Brandon said about leadership, and what our other friends have been mentioning throughout. For example, structure, system, processes, human element, capability, capacity, all of those points, and from that try to answer what they are saying. So chapter number 10, when you will open, the title is The Right Way to Manage Change. So I asked you guys, what is the right way to manage change? And in your own way, you guys tried to answer that question. But you must have realized that there is no right way. I love that quote. One of my friends said to me that different strokes for different folks. I like how it rhymes. So we can say that different strokes for different folks. There is no right way to manage change. You have to look at your circumstances, environment, your own self. But definitely, one thing is for sure, that change is, generally speaking, not easy. If we keep that in mind, we might be more mindful of the hindrances, obstacles it might bring, and then maybe we will prepare a little bit more. And then because we are better prepared, we might be able to go through change. But in any case, if we fail, nothing to worry about. Look in the past where you failed, try to understand what mistakes were made, try to improve, and over a period of time, you will become, we will become, all of us will become better change managers. So please open chapter number 10, the right way to manage change. As you will scroll through this, they are asking question on the first page. They are asking, is there one right way to manage change? Of course, there is no right way to manage change. And again, they are giving you some stories, what to do when it goes wrong. What are some, they are giving you some, statistics also to make you aware of some of the things. Please go through those in your own time. They are also talking about when change goes right. They are giving about, step by step approach. They are talking about well planned change. What is that? They are talking about buy, giving people buy in time. They are talking about that. They are, of course, talking about resources. One of our friend mentioned that. They are talking about vision, communication, direction. You guys mentioned that. They are talking about training, capability. You guys mentioned that. Very good. I'm very happy that we were on the right track in the discussion. They are talking about engagement. They are talking about leadership. They are talking about involvement at all levels, upper, lower, middle. They are talking about feeling valued in the change process. Please ensure that, because human element is involved, please ensure that people feel valued. Valuing people, you value some, saying a good word, a good job, well done. You can always say that they did the job because they are getting paid, but saying a word like, like giving some respect, regard, big up, something like that to other people, it helps, for, because change is going to take some toll on them, so maybe they will be able to find some energy from that. You need to think about that. Please make of table 10.1. Table 10.1, chapter number 10, table 10.1. Why transformation efforts fail? Why do they fail? This one is going through Cotter's 8 steps. So please look into that. And then they have some conclusion, getting ready for change, how to do that. So you need to keep in view whatever we have been saying throughout the semester, and you have to keep in view all the changes you have gone through in your life, your experience of change, and with that you need to scan through this chapter. And then you need to answer for yourself. Again, sit down, reflect, and answer for yourself. What is the right way to change? And then you need to just write it down on a piece of paper or somewhere, and then you need to add and delete over the course of your life based on the experiences you go through. So that paper will just keep on improving over a period of time. So let's say you are 20 right now. When you will be 25, that will be a different paper, and so on. You just keep on changing, and over a period of time you will have a better hang of what is the right way to manage change. Will you reach at some point where you will be 100% successful? I do not think so, but it is idea worth trying. You should try. If you believe that you can reach that point, of course you can. You might have to work a little bit hard, uh, but at least you will come very close. You will definitely come very close. So your success rate will be relatively high from people. And I think this is not just for this course or final exam, guys. Not at all. I think this topic, change management, is something which we should really think about, because it is going to help us in whatever we do in our life. Because life is about change. The better we understand this process, it will help us. And then in this chapter, they are looking back in earlier chapters, because they are looking at leadership. What, how, what is that one thing which we should keep in mind when we are managing? Is there something like which you really are passionate about? Don't worry if you are repeating, if you are going to repeat. Just like one thing, like, for change to be successful, this one thing, if this is not there, it is not going to really work out. Just one thing. Yes, Michaela, please go ahead.
Taking into consideration that each individual is different and each person's perspective is different, and it's important to work the change around these diverse set of personalities so that everyone can be on the same page when change is supposed to occur.
Very good. And I think this can be a concluding remark for this chapter, that what is the right way to manage change? If someone asks you in an interview situation, I think this is a very strong and good reply, personally speaking. I think this is a good reply, that, if someone asks you what is the right way to manage change, you can I think you can say that everyone is different. We need to consider that, everyone is different. So we might think that A is correct, but other people are saying B is correct. So we should have that much openness, that we can take other people's point of view. It should not be that if I am making the point, everyone should listen to what I am saying. No, that is wrong. Uh, because it is through collaboration we can come with innovation, and new idea development only happens when lot of people are giving ideas and they are comfortable in giving ideas, and then at the end of the day you make some conclusion. So very good point, Makeda. Understanding that people are different, you need to really and this is the challenge with this. The challenge is that we all know that everyone is different. We all know that, and we say this all the time. But when we are in a change situation, somehow we forget that. We just want other people to do what we have asked them to do. That might not work. Yeah. Brandon, please go ahead. Give some concluding to this one.
Yes, sir. Adding to what Michaela had mentioned about, taking into consideration, different what perspectives that people may have in relation to initiating a change or change management in general is exactly this word, culture, sir. I think culture is probably the most important thing, or if not one of the most important things, because understanding whether it be people or an organization or even a country on a whole, culture plays a significant role in how it sets the setting of how, or the stage on how you want to initiate that change. Everybody has different cultures in whatever country they come from, in an organization, even in our island such as Jamaica, where everybody comes from different backgrounds. Ultimately initiating change for everybody is going to react to this change differently. But you as the leader, if you want to initiate this change, you have to take the right approach in how to take on this sort of mixed culture that you may have in the workplace. Yes, sir.
Excellent point, Brandon. And that is one reason that chapter number 7 is about culture. And if you guys realize that we skipped that and we came on chapter 8, 9, 10. And because I wanted to do that chapter because of its importance, as Brandon is highlighting, I wanted to do that chapter in the end. So very good conclusion. Please read chapter 8, 9, 10. Try to think about these things in your own